Hi, everyone. I'm honestly not quite sure where we're going with today's flow, but I can tell you it's a flow, and I just needed to unroll my mat, so I thought I'd bring you along with me. So unroll yours, and I'll see you on the mat. I'll have you start right in Tadasana in mountain pose, which is fitting with our mountain meditation that's being released tonight. So I'll have you spread your toes wide and fan them out from your baby toe all the way to your big toe. Shift your weight slightly forward and then slightly back, and then find that balance point where that body finds its center. Maybe wiggle a little bit side to side. We're just going to do a little bit of free flowing movement for a second with our feet rooted on the ground. Sashay your shoulders, sashay your hips. Maybe a little side, maybe a little circling. And if you didn't want to fan your toes right now, you could even lift those up too. So let's take a deep breath in. Circle the arms out. Bring them alongside your ears. And then extend your fingers with some energy. Press down into your feet and lift up through your kneecaps. You're engaging your quadriceps. And if your shoulders are way up towards your ears, just soften them slightly. And notice here that beautiful length from the outer hips through your ribs and all the way up through the armpits and all the way up through your extended wrists and fingers. So this is extended mountain pose. So let's get a little bit taller and stronger in the stability of our mountain. Let's take a few deep breaths in. You always have the option of lowering your arms. Once more, I'm already feeling energized. I don't know about you. And exhale, hands to heart center. I'm really hoping my mic is working. Of course, if it's not, you won't know because I will do voiceover and you won't have heard this at all. My lips won't be in sync, but I have been having some mic problems. I'm learning quickly how to do lights and videos and microphones, and I'm doing a little bit of it, doing it all a little bit okay, and the rest of it will come with time. So thanks for holding on with me. All right, so back to our focus, back to our practice. With your hands at your heart center, I invite you to close your eyes, or at least just have your gaze down, turn just down past your nose. Invite the corners of your lips to slightly upturn. Feel the strength of your mountain. And inviting you to invoke all the qualities of a mountain in your being. Feeling a sense of stability and resilience. And check in. What brought you here today? Honoring that place from which you're starting. And without any particular end goal in place, although you have a reason for being here, trust the practice to give you what you need. And that way we're dropping any pressure that we're putting on ourselves or on the practice and allowing it to flow freely. I'm here because I've been sitting at the computer for about the last 8 hours, and my body was craving movement, and I was craving connection. And although I can't see you, I know you're out there. So I trust the practice to give me what I need. Maybe not always what I want, but definitely what I need. All right, let's come to standing at the end of the mat. Big toes can touch or feet hip distance apart. As you inhale, sweep the arms up. On the exhalation, hands through heart center, folding halfway down, hands on thighs or on shins. Check to see if you're rounding your back. If you are, allow your heart to extend forward. Feel some support through the lower belly and the pelvic floor, of course, throughout your practice. Start to feel into the hamstrings. It might feel good to kind of massage them right now. See if your toes are gripping, and if they are, relax them a bit. And just rubbing those legs a little bit more, you might find that helpful. Plus, it's just nice to be touched. And as I do that, I can feel myself lengthening in my muscles, saying, okay, let's be here. And maybe descending a little further, maybe hands on shins. You notice I always say, or often say maybe. It's because it's whatever works for you today. And on the exhalation, finding the depth of your fold. And depth doesn't mean 100% necessarily. It means, what do I need today? What is the depth that I need today to tune in? Sometimes what the body needs isn't what the mind needs. And sometimes what the mind wants isn't what the body needs. So it's really important to understand the difference between those two and find that balance point. Soften my neck a little bit. I know that I need to release my jaw a little bit. So I'm going to do some big chewing motions. I'm going to stick out my tongue. I invite you to do the same. Maybe the fold becomes a little more generous. Spread your fingers wide, let the palms of your hands find the earth, and step one foot back and then the other into a long plank. And if you're in a more of a teepee, bring your shoulders, fronts of the shoulders towards the back part of your wrists, maybe even slightly back from them, and then lower your knees. Check that your knees are way packed beyond your hips. And lengthen the tops of your feet along the floor and feel your navel pull towards your spine. Press the earth away with your hands. Doesn't look like much, but I'm already getting a little warmer. Make sure the knuckles are connected to the earth, and there's just a little bit of a hollowing out underneath the center of your palm. And exhaling, draw those sitting bones back, lengthening the arms alongside the ears. Allow this movement to be rhythmic. Inhale, shoulders over wrists. Maybe the hips come a little bit more towards the ground, but don't dump into the front of your hips. Keep some abdominal strength. And the exhalations will draw you back. Please do that a few times on your own. Connect to your breath. Warming up the joints, the wrists, the shoulders, the spine, the hips, the knees, the ankles. As I descend back, I feel a nice lengthening all through the lower part of my back, up into the back of my ribs. Where do you feel it? My dad used to say it's okay to talk to yourself, but you have to start to wonder when you get answers. But I often get answers when I don't talk to myself and I just find space. So let those sitting bones descend back and feel like the tailbone is just gently sweeping side to side. Let my torso do a little bit of swaying here as well. A little bit of rocking from one shin to the other. On this next inhalation, spreading those fingers wide, pull the mat towards you. Come into your tabletop. Place the knees underneath those hip sockets. Extend your right leg back in space and press the right heel back. Draw the navel in. Right heel to hip height. Pressing down through the right hand, through the left knee. Lifting the left arm alongside the ear. And draw that baby toe of the right foot towards you. Inhale, lift a little bit higher, a little bit of compression in the low back, but it shouldn't feel unsafe. And exhale, hug elbow into knee, strong and slow. Inhale to get long. And exhale, plant hand, plant knee. Lengthening the left heel behind you. Press the left thigh to the sky. Right arm alongside the ear. Elevate the heel to hip height. Hug the navel into the back body. Press the earth away with the right knee, left hand. Left baby toe drawing towards you. And supporting through the lower belly so you're not dumping into your low back. On the exhalation, bird dog pose comes into some abdominal contraction. So hug the knee and the elbow in together. Maybe even look toward those two. Inhale to get long. And exhale, release. Once again, extend left arm, right leg. And let that foot point to the sky as you bend or flex that right knee. Start to sweep your left arm around the back of the body. Might look like this. Maybe the ankle is available. And then see if that hip is dropping down. See if you can square everything off and maybe open the body a little bit more. Keep some contraction here through the glutes. And release all of that out and lower down. Left leg, right arm. Press the earth away. Left foot points to the sky. Sweeping the right arm back. Again, if you can't take the ankle, that's okay. It might look like this. Working towards the ankle. Squeezing through the left glute, opening through your heart. Try pointing the toe or flexing the toe. See which one works better for you. And release all of that out. Back to child's pose. Give those wrists a break. Forehead to the floor. Let your arms drape on your low back, that additional weight, maybe assisting those hips to draw down a little further. Your forehead, of course, can rest on a block. Will be for about 5 breaths. Sweep those arms forward. As you pull your hands, push your hands on the mat, pull the heart forward. Lengthen your knees behind you, strong and slow as we lower down into chaturanga. You know I'm a big seller of the long and slow. I feel that we get more out of it. Lengthening the tops of the ankles, the fronts of the ankles on the ground, sweeping your palms to face the sky. Draw the shoulder blades back. Reach through your fingers. Elevating the heart, squeezing through the glutes. Now lifting through the toes and fly. Give some energy to your inner thighs. Some strength to the back. Maybe lift a little higher. Enjoy that heat you're now creating as you fly. Lengthening the neck out of the shoulders. And release down. Rest one cheek on the floor. Soften completely. Roll over, please, onto your back. So I was telling one of the people watching through a private conversation that I may put together a video of bloopers. My dogs aren't here right now, but they often are. And if you only saw what I had to edit out, it's worth the value, the price of admission. Which in this case is free, but if there was a fee, it'd be worth it. Let's roll the shoulders under. Palms to face the sky. Let the bones of the body drop down to the earth. No, it's not time for Shavasana, but I just want you to notice how you feel at this point already in your practice. My body, I can feel it saying thank you. Thank you for moving me. Thank you for bringing me to the mat. Thank you for taking care of me. So some of you may have noticed my tagline for this particular YouTube channel is aging gracefully. And that's not to eliminate those that may be younger from coming to this page or this channel. It's about any age learning to listen to the body and aging with grace. If I knew now what I knew then, or if I knew then what I know now, I guess I should say, I would have taken a lot more care of my body when I was practicing yoga 20 years ago. I would have stopped being so aggressive with it, which led to some injuries. And now I pay really good attention to what my body is saying. And that means when the body is also saying thank you. I can feel the vibration in my body, that sense of aliveness. Let's sweep those arms along the floor and just let them rest gently on the head. So you don't have to reach all the way up. We're going to bend the elbows, draw the soles of the feet together, and let those knees drop out wide. Of course, you can always support the under part of your knees. Coming here intentionally into that rhythmic breath. The breath, which is our vehicle for prana. Prana, that life-giving energy. Everything is energy. Although I hear some people say they're creating energy, we never actually create energy from a sort of a physics standpoint. We can borrow it, we can redistribute it, but we are simply gathering energy that is already abundant in the universe. So you can choose right now to gather that energy, and I'm going to choose to gather it right here in my solar plexus, right in my navel, the area of Manipura chakra. You might even envision a sun beating down on it. We may not be able to travel to destinations that are sun-filled right now, but you can certainly use your mind's eye and imagery and gather that energy in this way, connecting to the energy of the sun as it beams down on you through your navel. With clarity of mind, focus, you'll start to even feel that heat from that frequency, that energy that you're attuning to. Drawing that energy into your navel center. That energy that you draw in, you can then redistribute it in a way that you need. Releasing your arms down, help your knees together. Walk your knees in, let your feet walk out, and let that internal rotation alleviate something in your hips here. And you can continue to utilize that energy that you've just gathered in the area of your navel and your solar plexus and distribute it to the place that you need right now. Is there some place in your body that would benefit from some healing? Use that biomagnetic energy. All right, let's separate those knees. You can draw on that energy that you've gathered at any time and continue to gather more energy anytime. And we are, of course, automatically gathering it through our practice. Let's lift the right leg up to the sky, hold behind the thigh, and just maybe massage that right leg. Turns out this practice is kind of a cross between flow and hatha. Truly, I believe it's called hatha. We tend to say hatha because that's how we say it in English. That th is tha, but I believe it's hatha. Maybe softening the shoulders back down to the earth and lengthening the left leg on the ground to intensify the sensation through the right leg if that's of benefit. Keeping some tone in the pelvic floor and the lower belly as you consistently connect to your breath. And spend into that right knee. And let that right knee rock side to side. And pivot that right knee out from the rotation of your hip. Maybe it looks like this. Maybe a little bit more is available. Take good care of your knee by engaging the ankle in a very active way. Feel free to rock that baby. We do this in seated sometimes. We'll do it reclined right now. This is a nice opportunity or option too for those that can't come into pigeon on your bellies. Now bending that left knee once again, plant that right foot on the left thigh. Begin to move a little deeper into that right hip with the support of your left leg. I've been sitting, as I mentioned, the majority of the day, so this feels like medicine for my hip. And feel free to draw everything a little bit closer if that's available. And lower it down. Lower that left foot down. Keep that right foot right where it is. And then pivot your left foot across your mat to the right. Pick up your glute, move it slightly to the right, and start to, keeping this foot glued to that left thigh, start to rotate that down to the ground. So I'm still projecting that right knee to the sky. Yours might be softening or not. Now reach your arms above your head. Get a little longer. Notice where that sensation moves into in that outer aspect of that right hip. Arms come back down. Bring that foot back to its starting position. And squeeze your right thigh over your left. Inhale, exhale, engaging the abdominals. Draw the knees in behind the thighs or on your shins. Upside down cow face pose. And releasing all of that down. Right foot on the floor, drawing the left knee into the chest. And holding behind the left thigh, extend the left leg up to the sky. And start to massage that left leg. And lengthening right leg out, reaching through the heel, thigh bone to the ground, right thigh bone to the ground, left thigh bone towards your belly. Flexing that left knee and rocking that left thigh bone or circling it in the hip socket. And coming into our upside down variation of pigeon pose, start to pivot that left knee out from that left hip socket. And maybe it looks like this. Maybe it's available, keeping good care of that knee, to come into something that might look like this. If it's available, although I'm not ready, you can plant your foot in your elbow, but I know that's not appropriate for me right now. I am not warmed up enough in my hips to do that. And so we'll bend the right knee now, plant that foot on the thigh, pivot that left knee open, and exhale, draw the right knee into the chest. Keep using that left elbow to assist that left hip open. Riding the wave of your breath. Knowing that as you're breathing, there's an energy exchange happening here. You're inhaling, energizing prana, energy, gathering energy, and you're exhaling anything that no longer serves, anything stale. So if you've got something that's on your mind or something that's been holding you back, you can choose to, on that exhalation, let its energy dissipate and release from your body. It's a choice you make. Maybe drawing everything a little bit closer. Releasing the right foot down, squeeze those thighs together, really close together, and exhale again, navel to spine, draw the knees into the chest. Holding behind the thighs, or again, if the outer shins are available, taking care of your knees by keeping your ankles at about 90 degrees. They're not lazy. And then open and broaden across your collarbones as well. The neck nice and relaxed, the center of the head on the floor. Release that right foot down. Bring that foot to the outer thigh. And again, arms descending to the body. Start to pivot your right foot across to the left side of your mat. Pick your glutes up, move them slightly to the left. So you're feeling a little bit askew here. Keeping that left ankle glued to the right thigh. Begin to roll that all over towards the right. I always find this one a hard one to cue in class. I look out and I'm like, oh man, I didn't cue that one well. I really hope that you're kind of figuring this out at home. If not, just do what feels good. The option to lift the arms and rest them on the floor above the head, noticing where that sensation moves into in that left hip area. Remember, we're never looking for sensations of pain. Always practicing non-harm, being in that state of both steadiness and easefulness in our practice. Sukha and sthira. Releasing those arms back down. We've already hugged our knees into our chest, so we'll release the legs now. Lengthen your legs again. Take a brief pause here in Shavasana and notice how you feel. Notice if that energy is moving a little bit better from those blocked areas. How do you know when something's blocked? Well, in me, it feels very dense. It feels very heavy. And then after I start to move my body, it feels like there's a sense of lightness in those places where the energy is flowing a little better. So tune in. Where do you feel still some sense of denseness or heaviness? And where do you feel a sense of lightness? Maybe you're feeling vibrations in different places of your body, except for in particular locations. That may mean that that energy is still kind of stuck there. That's okay. It is what it is. We notice, and then we can use the mind to guide more energy into those stuck places. All right. So let's bend those knees, roll over onto one side, and I'll meet you once again on hands and knees. So now we'll get a little bit more fluid here, a little more flow-like as we explore. Tuck the toes under, draw the sitting bones back. If your ears aren't between your arms here, walk your hands a little more forward. Descend the ears into the space between the arms. Energize those arms. Hug the navel into the spine and slowly lift those sitting bones to the sky. Notice how when you move slower here, it's more challenging than just throwing those hips up. So let's come back down. Engage the muscles in the bones in the arms and engaging the belly slowly, slowly pressing up. Feel the strength being created in your legs. And now descend the heels towards the ground, either one at a time or both together. We'll stay in Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog, for about 5 breaths. So feel and ride your breath rhythm here. So energize your quadriceps. Release the neck. Gazing towards the navel or the knees. It's a great opportunity to take a look towards your heels. What's going on with those heels? Hopefully you can't see them. That means they're in pretty good alignment hidden behind your ankles. Left foot stays on the ground. Inhale, right leg to the sky. Bending that right knee, pivot that right hip open, stack it above the left, and keep pressing into that right hand as well. Maybe take a look, hello, under your right armpit. You know, one of those days, sometimes, those of you that are familiar with me in class, and I'm in a mood. Check out bringing that right hip back in line with the left and draw that knee forward, dome out a little bit, press into the earth and step that right foot inside your right hand. Let's lift that back knee off the floor and draw the right knee right over top of the ankle. Left hand positions flat on the floor underneath the left shoulder. Hug that right knee in. So use your hand, hug it in. If that hip's up high, draw it down. Working on that thigh bone being parallel to the ground. Hug that right knee in, right big toe rooted to the ground, and begin to pivot your chest open. Left thigh bone presses to the sky. Press back and out through your left heel. Feel free to wiggle in here a little bit. Reaching the right arm up and wrapping it around your low back. So those of you that are ultra flexible need to pay a little bit more attention to engaging, and those that are really stiff will pay a little bit more attention to your flexibility so we can find that balance point. Let's extend the right arm back up to the sky, release it down beside your right foot. Begin to shift your weight back in space. Then I'm going to have you take your left foot and step it in slightly so that that left heel comes to the floor. And then draw the right hip crease back. You can always come onto your shin or on blocks. Keeping the right quadricep engaged. Gazing down past your right toes and exhale, folding forward. Left kneecap stays lifting. And if this feels a little bit unsteady, you can kind of pick up your right toe, step over, and then maybe pivot your right heel over as well, right? Inhale, lifting your chest. We're going to walk around. So sorry about my backside, but start to pivot over to the other side. And we're going to start in the place that we ended. We're staying up high in our pyramid pose. You fold forward, make sure that right heel is down to the ground and that foot is on about a 30 to 45 degree angle. Draw left hip crease back. Energize right thigh. Bow down over the left leg. Soften the heart, soften the shoulders. Gazing down past your left toes. Action of reaching out of the hips, reaching out of the pelvis. Pelvic floor, of course, is drawing in and up. Inhale, lift your chest, bending into that left knee. Step your right foot back a little bit more so that you've got that left thigh bone parallel to the ground and right thigh bone parallel to the ground. Stay up high, energize the back leg. Bring your hand to the inside edge of the foot if that's available. Whatever you did on the other side. I think I kept mine on the outside. And always making it yours. One of the beauties of practicing is home is we're not comparing ourselves to anybody else on the mat. It doesn't matter what your neighbor is doing. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'll bring my hand in and pick up your left foot and step it back into plank. Draw the heart forward if you're more in a teepee pose. Remember, fronts of the shoulders over the back part of the wrists. Some of our wrists don't like going to 90 degrees, so don't take them to 90 degrees. Back it off a little bit. Draw those sitting bones up and back into downward facing dog. Feel free to walk your feet into the heels, find the earth, but don't walk forward. I see people do, they're like, oh, I need to get my feet to the floor, so I'm going to come into a forward fold, but that's not downward dog now. You're in a different shape. You're in forward fold, so I want you to stay in downward dog. So what is downward dog? Downward dog is from tabletop, lifting up and back. So you've got this nice long V. If your heels don't come to the ground in downward dog, it's okay. They may never get there. That's okay too. Feel a nice long stretch through the back of the body from the sacrum to the heels, and then feeling strength through the front side of your legs, strength through the upper body, and length through your neck. Inhale, left leg to rise this time. We didn't do that on the other side. Picking up, bending, and stepping through. We're going to pivot around once again. All the way over to the other side and step your left foot forward. Bow down into your forward fold. Take opposite elbows. Releasing your hands down to the floor. Let's toe heel those feet open and descend your sitting bones down to the ground. So if your heels rise up here, maybe roll up your mat to rest them on. We'll stay here for about 7 breaths. Use the elbows to open up the chest. Sorry, not only the chest, but also opening up your inner thighs. So I've actually told you where we were going in this when we first began. You might not have practiced with me, but we're just going to see where we get to here. We're actually working on Bird of Paradise. And probably by time I post this, I will post that as a title. And so you will know anyway. So secret is out of the bag already. Release your hands to the floor. Let your sitting bones rise up. And bring your feet back to parallel. Bending into your knees. Sweep your arms forward and up. Come into a little bit of a back bend. And then exhale your hands to heart center. Okay, so for Bird of Paradise, do what you can. Have some fun along the way. Stop anywhere on the way through it. And you can come back to this again and again and keep practicing. We're going to toe heel those feet out past my hips, more towards shoulder width apart. Inhale, and on the exhalation, take the pelvis and rotate it over your thigh bones. So I'll show you this from a couple of angles. Some of you will stay right here because for Bird of Paradise, we need the hamstrings to be really quite open. So this is step 1, is opening those hamstrings, which we have done, and opening the hips, which we have done. So from the side, notice my toes and my feet are out about 30 degrees. I find that helpful. You're going to sink into those sitting bones again without the knees dropping in. So keep those knees energized out. Drop the sitting bones down a little bit more. So maybe you stay here, especially if your heels are off the ground. Maybe you stay here and work on this sensation. So this is step 2. Kind of looks a little bit like going into crane or into crow, which we've done in a couple of the videos. Take your left hand, and I want you to drop your left shoulder down in towards the crease between your knee, the back of your knee here. So maybe you work here. Maybe you drop the sitting bones a little bit more. You'll notice that really requires an opening here and also requires strength through your hips. So you're going to drop that in, reach your left arm under. And if it kind of looks like this, that's okay. Stay here, continuing to work here. If it's available, wrapping that arm around, take your right arm around and reach for your hand. So if you don't have your fingers interlaced here, then you probably won't proceed. And you'll just keep working here, working on dropping those sitting bones to allow your hands to come together. Now I like to walk my right foot in, so it's now underneath my right hip socket, and come onto the crease of my left toes. Using my hands, keeping that bind. The left leg is all of a sudden going to feel really heavy here. You're going to press into that right foot and start to see if you can imagine that left leg. So all that energy you gathered, allow that left leg to feel lighter as you press into the right foot. So maybe you work right here. Maybe you come halfway up. Keep opening the chest. Draw the right shoulder blade towards the left. Energize your left toes now and extend your left leg up to the sky. Use the left arm to open up that left hip socket. Press into the right foot a little bit more. Beautiful. Bending into the left knee. Slowly, slowly journey back down. So, how did it go? Did you have fun? Let's take a little bit of a break. Move the hips. Let's do that on the other side. Now, one side is usually a little bit easier or a little bit harder than the other, so I'll show you from the other side now. I have some limitations with my right shoulder, so we'll see how it goes. So, feet out about shoulder distance apart. feet pivoting out so that when I bend my knees, I track over the center of my foot. So there's a reason for everything. My breath is a little bit labored because I'm trying to talk and do this at the same time, which requires a little bit of mental stability for the balance. Descending the sitting bones, open the knees wide. Wrapping the left arm right, trying to bring that shoulder in towards that right knee, behind the right knee, and wrapping it around. Again, it might kind of look like this. If it does, you'll stay here and just work on this. You can work on some shoulder opening exercises during another class. If it's available, take your hands, walk your left foot now so it's underneath your left hip socket. Coming onto the right tips of your toes, engage your belly, and on the inhalation, press into the earth with your left foot. Ah ha ha. Sometimes you're a little wobbly, maybe like me. Find stability. Press into the left foot, open the left side of your chest. Energize the right toes and reach up. So my right side's not quite as open as my left. So I'm going to stay right here. My right shoulder is not liking that a whole lot. So you can stay up there, but I'm going to come down and come back to a modified version here and just use my arm underneath my leg. So take as many breaths on that side as you did on the other. And release that down. Release the foot. Sashay the hips. And slowly, slowly unfold. Actually, over the years, when I was first starting out, probably for the first decade, I didn't do chaturanga properly. And so I really bummed up my right shoulder. So now I have to take a little bit more care of it. Good news is it's finding more mobility now that I'm practicing with more awareness. All right. Let's stand in Tadasana. Close the eyes. Notice the beating of your heart. Feel a sense of accomplishment and now understanding why we drew on Manipura chakra. That sense of courage and abundant energy that we needed to take flight in Bird of Paradise. Let's cross the thumbs. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Energize the quadriceps. Broaden the chest. Firm up the glutes slightly. Maybe lift the heart a little bit more. Again, energize glutes to protect the back. And hands to heart center. Inhale, stretch the arms up one more time. Separate your feet hip width apart. Reach up and over to the right. For some reason, this always feels good to me after Bird of Paradise. It's because all of this was kind of all stuffed up. Reaching up, inhale, take opposite wrist. Inhale to come up and exhale, release the arms, float them down. So come on down to the ground. Hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself some love here. Good for you. Way to go. And whatever your body was able to do, let's celebrate that. There is a meme floating around. At least I think it's a meme. My kids, that I'm in my 50s, my kids have to explain some of these terminologies to me. And so I don't know if it's a meme, but anyway, there's something floating around on social media that says, I regret unrolling my mat and going to yoga class. It says no one ever. And I would agree with that. Even though I might sometimes think, oh, I just don't want to unroll my mat. The moment that I do, and that's what I always tell students, like, I just don't want to practice. I say, just unroll your mat. That's all you have to do. You don't have to commit to anything else. Just unroll your mat and sit on it. and inevitably you begin to practice. Great, let's release those legs down to the mat. Again, take a brief rest, a pause here in Shavasana. Celebrate this moment as it is, regardless of what transpired in the preceding moments, regardless of what is yet to come. All we have is now, so enjoy now. Have you plant your palms underneath your glutes. Bend your knees first. Plant your palms underneath your glutes. Spread your fingers on the ground. Walk your elbows in so your chest is already open here. So here's our modified fish pose. Glue the legs together and energize those. Energize your glutes here. That'll help you to energize your legs and also helps you tone up your belly. Maybe just from here, press into the elbows and lift your heart. You don't even have to lift your head off the floor. But if you choose to, press into the forearms and look towards your toes and lift your chest as you draw the crown of the head back. Just lost my headband. Open and close your mouth a couple of times. Shine your hearts. Thank you, body, for what you were able to do. Thank you, mind, for letting me journey there. Looking towards the toes and lowering the back down to the floor. Release your hands. Draw right knee into the chest. Hug it in. Just draw that knee across the body as you exhale. Finishing here with a spinal twist. Looking over to the right. If that leg is kind of in midair, you might find it helpful to let it rest on the inner thigh or on a block or something. Inhale, and maybe on the exhalation, finding a little bit more wringing out action, kind of like a wet towel. Your torso is like a wet towel, and you're releasing all of that excess. This is also for Manipura chakra. Sometimes people are like you, energizing that left ankle, but right now I'm going to allow it to be a little bit more relaxed. We'll stay here for a few more quiet breaths. And draw that knee back to center. And release it down. Left knee into the chest. Engage your belly to get it there. Inhale, and on the exhalation, drawing the left arm to the side. Maybe shift your glutes slightly. And rolling that knee over to the right. Drawing the left shoulder down to the ground. You can modify, of course, by reducing some of that pulling sensation by letting your hand rest on your rib cage, especially if that shoulder's way off the ground. A few more quiet breaths. Turning inwards. Notice that any posture, I feel anyway, any posture, especially when I'm practicing alone, can point me to or guide me to that place of pratyahara, that turning inwards, withdrawing from external stimulations, a sense of inward interiorization, that sweet spot. It's like the entire world disappears. as you disappear into yourself. Let's release out of that. Draw that knee into the chest. And then taking it down for Shavasana. Arms apart. You can take up a lot of real estate here, which is a premium these days. At least it is where I live. So take up a lot of space. Arms out wide, legs out wide, and take a deep breath in. And exhale. Relax. Eyes closed. Settling in and settling in. When we first arrive to Shavasana, it sometimes takes us a few moments or even a few minutes to let all of that start to settle. It's like maybe some sand in a bucket. When you gather it all together, it's kind of murky and mucky because that energy is still all moving, and then it starts to settle. So you can start to sort of feel the sand, if there was sand here, settling down to the base of your body. And the water, sense of lightness and clarity rising up until clarity is yours. Feet relax. Feet relax. And the feet are relaxed. Hands relax. Hands relax. And the hands are relaxed. Legs relax. Legs relax. And the legs are relaxed. Arms relax. Arms relax. And the arms are relaxed. Pelvis relax. Pelvis relax. And the pelvis is relaxed. Abdomen relax. Abdomen relax. And the abdomen is relaxed. Chest and shoulders relax. Chest and shoulders relax. The chest and shoulders are relaxed. Back, relax. Back, relax. And the back is relaxed. Neck, throat, and nape relax. Neck, throat, and nape relax. The neck, throat, and nape are relaxed. Face relax. Face relax. And the face is relaxed. Whole body relaxed. Whole body relaxed. And the whole body is relaxed. At the still point of the turning world, neither flesh nor fleshless, neither from nor towards, at the still point, there the dance is. I'll meet you there. T.S. Eliot. Inviting movement into the fingers, into the toes. Inhale, reaching the arms above the head. And draw your legs together and maybe get a little bit longer. And exhale, bend the knees, soften the elbows. Draw right knee into the chest. And then left. Help yourselves up to seated. If it feels right for you, bring your hands to heart center, and we'll close today's practice with the vibrational sound of Om. Taking a breath in through the nose. Inflate your lungs, absorb the prana. Thank you for practicing with me. Most of all, thank you for showing up to yourself, for showing up to the mat. Until next time, namaste. And if you haven't subscribed and you enjoyed this, please hit subscribe, and I'll see you again. Hi, Chloe. Did you come to practice with us today? Did you? Did you come to practice? Yes, you did? Yeah. Bye, everybody.